Story 1. That's ridiculous. Those small individuals could never reach a volcano. I will delegate the task of stopping them to some assistants. Story 2. Well, I know what I am not going to do. Place guards at the entrance to the volcano. What am I, made of orcs? Story 3. Sit comfortably knowing that no one has the physical or mental power to destroy the ring. It is literally impossible to willingly perform that action. So I sit and wait for someone to bring it directly to me. Unless one of those individuals accidentally falls into the volcano while fighting over the ring. That probably won't happen, though. Story 4. I can't hear you. Someone is knocking on the front door. He has some people with him as well. Story 5. I received an advertisement in the comments that simply stated, "Cancel your car insurance." Took me a moment to realize it was an ad. I thought I was missing the joke. Well played, Reddit. To answer the question, destroy the volcano. Story 6. Arrange for the ring to fall into a swamp for a couple of hundred years until the Hobbits are gone. It's just a delaying tactic, but it has worked many times before. Story 7. Are we allowed to kick them? Feels kind of wrong, but it also feels right to just run up to them and kick them. I am not a tall woman, but I bet I am taller than they are. Story 8. Send out as many aerial scouts as I can spare. Send out ground troops to all the known paths to the volcano and booby-trap the entrance as thoroughly as possible. Add an invisible shield over the lava if I have the means to do so. Story 9. First, I would block the entrance to the volcano. Then, I would have a few Nazguls circling the volcano around the clock. Next, I would gather 100,000 orcs to march around the volcano continuously. Finally, I would destroy the steps to Shelob's lair to eliminate that entrance to Mordor. The hobbits would essentially starve in the wilderness trying to find a way in or get caught attempting to sneak through the Black Gate. Checkmate, Hobbits. Story 10. Dear Hobbits, while I respect your resolve, please understand that I cannot allow you to succeed. However, you are free to do as you wish. If I fall, my soldiers will raze every city, town, village, hamlet, hut, inn, tavern, and alehouse from Gondor to the Shire. Do as you will. Respectfully yours, T.D. Lord. Story 11. Set out a landmine every 3 to 4 feet apart at the mouth of the volcano. Once they arrive and set off the first one, it will create a ripple effect around the entire area. Even if they are not dead or dying from the explosions, there is a decent chance the injuries will make them easy targets. Story 12. Be kind to them and convince them their mission is influenced by dark forces. Tell them these evil powers want them to throw the ring into the volcano to destroy peace, not to eliminate evil. Consider this, Hobbits. Have you observed much evil in the Shire? Story 13. Post on r/AskPhysics asking how to turn off a volcano, and have a group of orcs do whatever is requested, likely involving water or something similar. Story 14. Clearly serenade them with my magic recorder that I learned to play in 3rd grade. If 3 blind mice won't get them to follow me into the little hobbit habitat I've created, I don't know what will. Story 15. Any old ring or my ring is capable of corrupting 99.9% of living beings given enough time in its proximity. If it's the latter, I would strengthen border and internal security and wait it out. I am strong enough to conquer the world without it anyway. Story 16. Kidnap all of their loved ones. Start harming them. Then send them pictures. They will respond quickly. Story 17. Find them and ask them to wait until my dog dies. I don't want him to be alone. Story 18. Have my brother keep an eye on the Gap of Rohan. Have him keep King Theoden in a weakened state. Possess him if needed. See to it that Denethor too finds the Palantir in the safe. Call the commander of the Moria goblins to stand guard in the pathways. Let no one through. Then wonder if I actually exist, or if some creator thought it would make for a cool image. Story 19. Big pile of butter-covered mushrooms and short, fuzzy-footed ladystripers. I have read the books and may have written a few fanfictions myself. Story 20. Inform the local police department that 2 short men with big feet are planning to commit a terrorist attack in their community and advise them to be on the lookout. Story 21. Distract the hobbits with friendly faces, good food, drinks, and music. Seize the ring when the opportunity is right. Story 22. I built a ring stoppinator that prevents any ring-sized or ring-shaped object from coming within 20 miles of any active volcano in the tri-state area. Story 23. Provide a list of targets. Inform them that I will not deploy all my resources to stop them if they eliminate these targets first and will instead allow them to proceed freely. Include every authoritarian leader globally in this list. Story 24. Beat them up. Take the ring. Have my destiny in my own hands. I will likely hang on to it for a week, then throw it in myself. Story 25. What makes you think they are trying to destroy it? It is literally the most powerful object in Middle-earth, and nobody has any hope of challenging me without its power. No, they are going to use it against me, but they underestimate me and the influence the ring has. It will be their undoing, and I will be ready to seize my moment when it inevitably presents itself. Story 26. Hobbits are barefoot, right? What about those goat-head creatures that are unpleasant to step on? There are many of those. Story 27. Make sure the eagles are not available. Consider sending some wargs and goblins to engage them. Story 28. Guard the entrance to the volcano. Send an army of intimidating orcs and wraiths to find them. Additionally, send agents who appear friendly, such as beautiful women and heroic figures, to gain their trust and ultimately betray them. Also, eliminate the giant eagles. Story 29. Well, firstly, that's not how the rings of power work. Only the fire that forged them can also destroy them, so any old random volcano won't do. Secondly, order my minions to construct a fireproof net and install it inside the Mount Doom chamber. Then, just let the hobbits do their thing. Story 30. I would release numerous hobbit-focused enthusiasts along every possible route to the volcano. They will either be too delighted or traumatized to manage any ring disposal issues. Story 31. Offer a free buffet at the base of the volcano and free drinks. Once they are unable to move from eating and drinking so much, I just take the ring. Voila! Story 32. Sizzling bacon, toast, pancakes, pastries, fried eggs, warm cider, and tea. They would be in trouble. Story 33. In that case, I identify as Death, and Death's missing ring is a part of him, a part he can observe and control at will. The ring's attribute changed to Death itself. Story 34. Don't worry about it. Anyone who sees that ring will go crazy for it. They'll either get themselves hurt or bring it to me for another chance. Story 35. My original plan was to use the extensive resources at my disposal to secure the area around the volcano, barricading it to prevent entry, and establishing a significant guard presence there so that even approaching it would be nearly impossible. However, I decided to do virtually everything except that. I do not foresee it backfiring in any way. Story 36. Nothing. I'm confident no man can kill my Nazgul, and there's no possible way that spell can be taken too literally. Story 37. Remove all the eagles, as you wouldn't want the wizard to summon them and have them fly the hobbits to the volcano in a day or two, really streamlining the process and potentially saving lives. In this scenario, that would be unfortunate for me. Oh, never mind, these individuals are going to walk. Story 38. I will intercept them and set up the house, serving breakfast, second breakfast, elevenses, lunch, afternoon tea, and supper. Story 39. Remove the obstacles between them and their objective. Remove all guards from the volcano. I would not block the entrance to the volcano, not even with a chain or a warning sign. I would make the path to the entrance so easy that anyone could reach the top barefoot while carrying a large bag of potatoes. I will be remembered as one of the most cunning and dreadful villains to ever exist. Story 40. Hobbits eat for free. Distract them with food and games. Why harm them or frighten them when you can simply neutralize them with things they love? Story 41. I spread misinformation that destroying the ring will cause the end of the world and the rise of Sauron. I use Saruman to befriend the hobbits and their allies and convey this propaganda. I discredit Gandalf by making false accusations about him. I tell the hobbits and humans that the elves intend to steal their land to prevent them from becoming allies. After burning a town to the ground with my orcs, I will blame it on the elves. Story 42. Have my best sergeant at arms whip them until they join my army and march in the opposite direction of the volcano, singing songs the whole time. Where there's a whip, there is a way. Story 43. Open a really good bed and breakfast on the road between Rivendell and Moria. Michelin chefs the whole 9 yards. They will never leave. Story 44. I'm telling that strange person that I'm going to put a backhoe through the with a windle if he doesn't stop them. Story 45. Get them tickets to a casino cruise with an unlimited continental breakfast. Ensure they have tickets to all the shows and drink tickets. Also, make sure they have access to a dinner buffet that will either occupy them for a long time or entertain the gluttonous individuals. Story 46. Send someone friendly to invite them to a version of a pub crawl, but for all-you-can-eat buffets. The last stop will be a cruise ship headed away from my volcano. Story 47. Set up a series of bed and breakfasts around the mountain. They will never make it if they keep getting delayed at bed and breakfasts. Story 48. I would send my most personable helpers to set up bed and breakfasts all over the land between the Shire and Mount Doom. I would then poison the hobbits during afternoon tea. Story 49. Construct a decoy volcano while hiding the real one as a regular mountain. Alternatively, gather a group of hobbits and place a sign by the volcano that says, "If that ring goes in this volcano, so do," followed by a list of their friends and family. Story 50. I would place the volcano on an island in the middle of a vast ocean. Then I would integrate that volcano into a new, eerie religion. The followers of this religion would be highly litigious and utilize the courts to financially ruin the bearer. Finally, when no one is concerned anymore, I would have him disappeared at sea. Story 51. Set out a spread of food at each location, including inns, beer, mushrooms, and similar offerings. They may skip the initial options, but they will eventually be convinced. Gradually influence them over time with the food they consume and herbal substances. Story 52. I would ride a fellbeast down to the Shire. It wouldn't take more than an hour or two to sort things out. Story 53. Have you ever kept a workforce of orcs focused, let alone preventing them from harming each other? It's absolutely exhausting. I have my hands full with that. Anyway, hobbits are often in a blissful state. What harm can they really do? Story 54. I'm going to open the Middle-earth version of Waffle House meets Denny's. Open 24 hours a day, serving items like second breakfast, third breakfast, second lunch, third lunch, high tea, dinner, and second dinner. Did I mention we have third and fourth dinner specials? In the lounge, there will be fireworks and a hookah with some fine tobacco. It will be just like the Lotus Casino in Percy Jackson. They will never leave. Story 55. Eliminate Gollum when I had the chance so he doesn't bite the ring off the Shire rat's finger and dive into the magma. Story 56. Unlike others in the movies, I have access to and experience with firearms. My biggest issue is deciding between long range or close range. Story 57. I would help them. I would sit them down for second breakfast, give them 11sies, and make a potato stew. I would do this for a week, and then on the final night, when they trust me the most, I would poison the second dessert. Story 58. Good for them. I take a nap and roll a 20 for a nap until they reach the volcano. At the volcano, I lazily give a thumbs up and wish them well. Don't burn yourself and live well. I would say just before I die, then roll over, of course. I'm a restless sleeper and I'm eager to catch up on sleep. Well done, hobbits. I would have thrown it in myself, but I lost it. Swings and roundabouts. Story 59. I will try to extinguish or destroy the volcano by using large water pumps to solidify the top layer of magma. I will blow out the sides of the mountain so the magma flows and cools. I can't destroy the ring if there isn't a volcano to throw it into. Story 60. Read and follow the advice offered here. The top 100 things I would do if I ever became an evil overlord. Story 61. Surround the volcano with a large spread of poisonous but delicious-looking food and beer. They won't be able to resist. Story 62. The most obvious action for them is to fly like Leroy Jenkins into Mordor on eagles. Therefore, I will focus all my defenses on air power. Flying Nazgul will run patrols to seize as much of my neighbor's land as possible. I will establish a tower defense and a perimeter. In case that is not sufficient, I will transform myself into a giant eyeball perched upon a tower to scan the skies. Story 63. Maybe assign a guard or two at the entrance to the volcano. Orcs breed rapidly, so I can spare a few to protect what is arguably the most important door in my realm, at least until I retrieve my ring. Story 64. Well, I know when I'm a little short on funds. I sometimes drop off my rent check having forgotten to sign it. That could buy us some time. Alternatively, we might not send the check, and when they call, we could pretend we're the cleaning service. Hello? I'm sorry, Volcano is not here. Story 65. The Dark Lord Sauron never dreamed anyone would destroy the ring until the moment it happened. How did I find out? Honestly, simultaneously besieging any stronghold of humans, dwarves, and eventually elves across the continent is a pretty foolproof plan. What are the chances the one man I have spent all my energy chasing will have the power to free Rohan, raise an undead army, claim his throne, and somehow not have my ring? He definitely has it. I can let my focus on my unnumbered hordes of orcs slip for a bit while I secure my ring. I'm even going to make him bring it to me. What's that? What's a hobbit? Oh no. Story 66. I made a joke answer, but the honest answer is to turn the ring into a mushroom and watch those hobbits fight over it. Hobbits have a passion for mushrooms that surpasses even the greed of larger folks. Story 67. A random volcano, or the one where my portal to observe and exert my will upon the world is situated? Story 68. Feed them breakfast, second breakfast, elevensis, lunch, afternoon tea, dinner, and supper. Make them so full they can't climb the mountain. Story 69. Not obliterate the home of the strongest and most ancient creatures in the world just to get some logs I could find anywhere. Story 70. I am going to steal a taco truck and drive it over to them, slowly leading them far away from the volcano. Once they succumb to a food coma, I will take the ring. Story 71. Have an orc tell them it is the wrong volcano once they arrive, and that Mount Doom is, in fact, a papier-mâché model you have been working on. Story 72. Sow internal discord. Convince each of them that the others are taking all their second breakfasts and are plotting against them. Fuel this with their social media addiction and groupthink. They'll thwart themselves. Story 73. Facts. 1. Hobbits are the only beings resistant enough to carry the ring that far. Hobbits eschew shoes without known exception. Solution. Just cover the mountainside trails in Lego pieces, obsidian shards, old rusty nails, sand fleas, and more. Problem solved. Story 74. Invite them to a dinner party and become friends with them. Then take the ring and replace it with a similar-looking ring that makes the person wearing it invisible. Story 75. On the road there, set up a series of poorly managed restaurants that serve delicious-tasting and fragrant food but cause progressively worse cases of food poisoning. They will suffer from dehydration in a matter of days. Story 76. Isildur's heir just arrived, and I need to deal with this situation immediately. Those two hobbits will not survive before they reach the mountain. Stares menacingly. Story 77. iPhone with a $1,000 gift card to DoorDash and a $1,000 gift card to a delivery service that resembles a tech startup. Assuming Middle-earth is a legal state, might not make it to the edge of the Shire. Story 78. A large spider lives in a cave. I will send my army of 500,000 orcs and other creatures to fight in a giant battle for no reason. Story 79. Introduce them to a Denny's and a Golden Corral, then visit a tobacconist before going to the pub. Have someone drive them back and forth between these places. If they resist, send a group after them to take them to a cheesecake factory to persuade them. Story 80. Send a human resources representative to find them with an email stating that their lunch conversation did not meet corporate standards. Story 81. Sauron invents gunpowder and creates sniper rifles. Saruman trains orcs to become orc snipers. Nothing is unsolvable with the use of gun violence. Story 82. Offer them a place to sleep, keep providing meals, and ask how to improve various aspects of the home and yard. Story 83. In this economy, who can afford to stop those little guys? Besides, you can't afford healthcare anymore anyway. It's just easier to let them toss that ring into that old volcano. Story 84. Given that I am a long-haired, burly man, I would not look out of place if I offered to join them. Then I could steal the ring and throw it into the volcano myself. I should not have the kind of power this scenario implies. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.